I am your fight goddess, Chris Baldwin, and I am back in the war room today with my dear friend, Douglas Betts. He is the founder of the Black Coffee Professionals. It is a private group on Facebook. I'm here with my dear friend, Saritza Stevens. She is a finance professional. And today we are going to talk about when leadership betrays trust. And it's an important conversation I think we need to have because right now, in this day and time, we've got corrupt leaders at every level of government and in, of course, the workforce and corporations. Some of us have experienced leaders who have really come in and pulled the wool over some of our eyes. So we're not going to mention any names or any companies, but I'm sure people in our audience have had leaders like this who, I don't know if anyone's ever read the 48 Laws of Power and had a leader or a manager who exercised some of those laws, but I'm telling you, it's real. It causes disruption to workforces and to teams. And so I want to kind of set the stage on what I'm talking about. I'm a military veteran, so it was drilled, integrity, honor, and duty was like drilled into me when I was at a very impressionable age. I was just 10 days out of boot camp. I grew up in a very Christian home. So when you've had this upbringing, you really expect people to live by this ethos, right? And when you don't, it's like the veil has been shattered. And some of us have experienced this recently, wherein a leader who put a group together came in, asked us to give him 3 years commitment, a very pious man, supposedly virtuous leader. Um, he can build stuff, and we believed him, and he had a little cult-like following. So what we're going to talk about today is having that wool now that was pulled over our eyes lifted and what that feels like to a group of folks. So, Saritza, you are new to the War Room. I want to thank you for joining us today. I know you've been in the finance game for a minute. Like, this is an industry that's big but small. Folks know each other. So I just want to hear from you over the course of your career. Have you run into, and I want to, like I said, I want to frame this around the 48 Laws of Power, meaning that, you get people who take credit for what you do, leaders that do that, folks that have one plan, they conceal those things that they're doing. That's law number 3 in the 48 Laws of Power, is conceal your intentions. So I want you to share with us if you've had, just your thoughts on feeling something like that, experiencing something like that. Just give the audience a little bit of insight into that.
Yeah, Chris, thank you. I'm happy to be here with you and Doug. Um, I think that at least let me just back up quickly. I've had 3 careers in my lifetime. And I can honestly say this has happened at all levels, right? In all of those 3 careers. And so that's my point of reference in this conversation. And I'm like you, I've taken personal growth and development courses. I come from a family, from an immigrant family that believe in integrity and being honest and telling the truth. And if you don't tell the truth and do what you're supposed to do, there are consequences. I mean, so everybody expects accountability and everybody is trusting um, in whatever expectations that there are. I'm devastated. And also, I'm an eternal optimist. So I'm very optimistic. I believe in the possibility of everyone having success, everyone being able to live their full life potential and blessings available to all of us, right? So when someone comes in and takes advantage or uh, is out of integrity, it's really, really hard for me. It hurts. It and you know, I've learned because I come from a significantly corporate background, you can't say hurt, right? Because they don't care about how you feel, right? You have to really talk about, and I learned that too. It's not about how you feel. Who cares if you're hurt? Really, you want to be able to talk about the impact of the things that happen. For example, you're moving in a particular trajectory and you expect promotion, or you feel like you've had a particular level of accomplishment compared to your peers, and then someone else gets promoted ahead of you, and you yeah, all the
Feeling some
things.
kind of way. You are feeling some
Right?
kind of way.
Right?
Right.
The key to that in all of those things, if you feel like, you have an axe to grind or conversation to bring forward, first of all, you have to speak up, right? You have to be your own advocate. That's the first thing. And so that it's not a new conversation, and giving folks an opportunity to respond to you, so that when they do respond to you, you're able to capture and track those receipts. It's not about feelings. It's about the receipts. It's about your ability to capture and track all of the mishandling of your professional career, um, that matters.
Right. Yeah. I wanted to know, so because it's a touchy situation, we can't really name any names or the companies. But like I said, if you have a leader with a proven track record and somebody that has created a cult-like following, and in 48 Laws of Power, that's law number 27, right? Because that person is now manipulating their following through politics, identity politics, or religious signaling or something like that to build this loyalty and deflect scrutiny. And I truly feel like we all know this person, that is exactly what they did, because one of their key things was I was able to bring X number of folks with me from this company. And now they're all working for corporation number B, right? Corporation B. And if you guys just commit to me for 3 years, I guarantee you I'm going to show you X, Y, and Z. I'm going to show you the secret sauce. I'm going to commit. And all of us did that for a couple of years, spending our hard or money, time, everything, only to have this person abruptly resign because the carrot got bigger on the other side for the weaker competition. So the competition, who's weaker than where we are right now, offered this person a bigger carrot. And that person who asked us to commit to them is the one that absconded. So I have so many issues. Like, I was joking, but you kind of feel like a jilted lover, right? Like this person has given you a ring, put a ring on your finger of engagement. We gonna be here for a minute. We gonna make some shit happen. And then they pull the rug out from under you. And so the all the time invested, and you find out that they're shady. They're doing shady things that just doesn't mesh well with the group. So it's good that that person is gone. However, we're left in turmoil, right? So what does that teach us about judging leaders, right, by their actions versus their branding, right? Because branding is one thing and their actions are another. I'm going to give that question to you, Doug.
Let me just really quick say this. So I come from a sales background. The majority of my professional career has been in sales in some capacity, mostly insurance. So I've seen this story repeated dozens of times.
Mm.
And some of the things that, some of the flags that come out that are repetitive and it's a constant is this. Some of the things that you look for or you observe. One is the individuals or leaders in questions They always have these grandiose ideas and pie in the sky ideas of what they're going to do and how much money they're going to make and how much money you're going to make if you follow them. Number two, the dream seems too good to be true. And oftentimes that saying goes, if it's too good to be true, it usually ain't. You know, you're gonna be a millionaire in a year, or these things will happen. And look at this, and look at my yachts and my cars and my trips that I've taken to Cancun and Cabo, and we're fishing on a 60-foot yacht and blah 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 blah. And then when the truth unravels, you have to start asking questions. How do you come about all these memes? Because if you did it honestly, I doubt very seriously that you would have all this in such a short amount of time. I digress. The other thing is they're very narcissistic.
That part.
And let me add this to this. Whenever there's a crisis or issue or problem or something that doesn't jive, it's never their fault. It's always someone else. You know, they've never ever articulate a time where, you know what, I did this the wrong way. It's always, well, this person did this to me, or that person did that to me, blah, blah, blah. All right.
They blame it on the managing directors.
Jesus Christ, it sounds like the White House, doesn't it? The President of the United States. And we know that he was the biggest grifter in the history of grifting.
Well, this particular leader happens to be MAGA too, so it kind of fits.
Well, there you go. The die has been cast.
Yes.
So for me personally, I've become jaded somewhat. I'd be a prove it to you person. And again, I will sit and observe, and I won't say very much, but I do not always buy in fully into what's being presented to me until you prove yourself. And unfortunately, in this situation, we know what happened. But again, this story has been repeated dozens of times. And one of the favorite shows that my wife and I like to watch is American Greed. And you see that happens where, yeah, where the gentleman or the individual involved, they first start taking shortcuts, then they start engaging in unethical behavior, and then it all steamrolls into a slippery slope. By the end, they're doing illegal stuff, because they've been allowed to get away so long with cutting the edges and cutting corners and skating on the fence that they take that next step to where it's illegal. So it wouldn't surprise me if individuals we're talking about and other individuals don't wind up in front of in a courthouse in front of a judge, and then eventually on one of these episodes or one of these crime shows where they're doing 10 years in jail for some embezzlement or like that, whatever. But this is what happens.
I'd love to see that. I'd love to see his ass on American Greed.
Oh, no, it's the same story. It repeats itself.
It is. Exactly. But, I think, we're still in a bit of shock over here. But from what I understand, I'm new to the finance business, right? I've worked by pretty much, I had my own company because I didn't want to work with con artists. And I didn't want to work with people who put money above service. And so that's why I never brought in a partner. I never did any of that thing. So when I met this person, I did want to believe that bullshit that they were preaching because he was a preacher. He wanted us to meet his preacher. And I'm not a pious person. I'm a non-believer. And I did even have a thought in my head of American Greed when he was preaching a little too hard. So, it's still a gut punch, no matter how you look at it. And I just feel like it's not only did it disrupt us, but it allowed us to shift gears, stay positive. We have just had some great training on that. So we're making the most of it. However, some people don't ever recover from this, right? Some people are like taking it personal and, what did I do? Don't internalize that shit. That's on your boss.
Well, Here's the deal. You realize how corrupt the world is, and we're talking about government.
I never wanted to believe the world was that corrupt, but now I believe it.
Oh, look, you've been paying attention the last 8 years. Look
Oh
who's in the White.
yes.
Look who's
Oh,
in the
I'm
White House.
shocked. I'm sick.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sick.
Look who's in the White House.
Exactly.
and, and he's allowed to get away with. Look, you think he's the only one? No,
No,
no.
this is the
Yeah,
issue. This is the issue that he's
yeah,
not the only one. So yeah.
yeah. Him and his
Uh,
cronies. But it's in politics. It's in government.
mhm.
It's in business.
Private business,
I was
right?
I was raised in a church, and one of the things I learned is that it's very easy to manipulate people, individuals, when you profess to be Christian or godly man or whatever you want to call it, because once you throw that name out there, people immediately become disarmed.
Right. They let the
No,
guard down. Right.
yeah, they let their guards down. Oh, he goes to church. If I walked out of the house right now with a ski mask, I would get a different, and black gloves. I would get a different reception than if I walked out with a uh, all black with a white collar. People would think,
Mhm.
oh, he's somebody you could trust. So once you've done that where they're not even looking at anything, you could easily pull the wool over their eyes because you could just
Right.
profess, oh, I'm godly, and then folk could just eat that up.
Right. Here, meet my
I,
minister.
I was
Go
gonna
ahead, Saritza.
say, like I said in the very beginning, I'm an eternal optimist, and that's where I come from. And I have learned that you can't let people take you off. Like a tiger, just like a tiger can't change his or her stripes, nobody's going to change my stripes either. My level of integrity and accountability
Yes.
for the people that I commit to, that are entrusted into my service or my care, um, that's not going to go anywhere. So now, what has happened in my past experience when, I mean, trust me, I have been derailed. I have been derailed more than once.
Mm,
But I know that the way to get out of that is just to keep moving forward. You have got to put that
right.
down and you have to keep moving forward because um, it's very difficult to make any progress if you stay in that place.
Right.
You're like, should I stay? Should I go? I'm hurt. I'm mad. What am I going to do? And I think in the short term, you have to sit still and use your discerning spirit and determine if you're going to go left or if you're going to go right, or if you're going to stay the course. And sometimes you stay the course. And yes, time, it's like a relationship, right? You could be in a relationship for 5 years and quit, and then you reflect on that relationship and say, damn, I could have done something different. Or what could I have done differently? In this scenario, when you have a job that's taking care of you and your family, or a business that's taking care of you and your family, the stakes are high,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
it's an instinctive mama bear moment for me. How are we going to manage this? But I don't come angry because I realize that I know how to survive. I know how to get past these kinds of situations that are no doubt insurmountable. But tomorrow is going to come anyway, right? Tomorrow will be here. And so it's not about what's happening. It's never about what happens. It's about how you deal with it and how you manage it.
Right. Exactly. And there's only so much you can control, right? It's not in your control. But yeah, I think what blew me away the most about this particular situation is to learn that this person not only manipulated the folks that he brought into the circle, but he also, the internal theft that went on because he was being dishonest and covering that up through his, you know, preaching and pious activity. So it's like to learn, on top of all the shit you already did, you're stealing from us.
Well, I think we have to be careful though, Chris, like, because
Well,
we don't,
let me just say, okay,
yeah,
allegedly. Let's
yeah,
go
yeah,
allegedly.
No, let
yeah.
me let me let me interrupt. So there is a theft. It may not be monetary, but it could be a theft of trust. a theft of time,
Mm.
a theft of resources. So it may not always be monetary. There is a theft that goes on. And to piggyback when you say, Saritza, one of the biggest tragedies of of what we're talking about specifically and generally is when somebody violates your trust, it takes a little bit out of you. And
It
one of the
does.
things I hope that does not happen, because you mentioned you're a very optimistic person, I hope what does not happen is that you lose your optimism and you become jaded, and I'm not saying that you don't learn a lesson from this. We all learn lessons from these things,
Mm-hmm.
but that you don't become so jaded that you don't trust anyone. I don't think that's going to happen to you. But
No,
I'm
for
just throwing
sure.
that out there because
Yeah.
I did see, I have seen these things happen, especially in relationships. Men, women, they've been wrong, they've been cheated on, and they says, "Well, I'm not going to trust anybody ever again. I'm not going to trust a man ever again. I'm not going to trust a woman ever again." And they just build these walls up where they lose a part of themselves because of the hurt and pain and betrayal that they face. And I think what we want to do is pick the lessons we learn from this, move on, become more
Stronger.
aware, but
Stronger.
not distrustful of everybody. That's if I'm saying it correctly.
Yeah, no, I
Absolutely.
agree. I agree with that wholeheartedly, Doug. And like I said, you have to know who you are and what you stand on, so
Yeah.
that when things like this happen, you are not derailed. Like Maya Angelou said, like a tree planted by the river, I shall not be removed. So I know where I stand and where I'm going and
Hmm.
what I am committed to. And yeah, things are going to happen because things happen. You can't have a rainbow without rain. You can't have flowers without water, you
Mm,
know. So
preach.
so that's life, right? Life happens. But the thing is, like, it's never what happens, you know. What are you going to do with that?
Hmm.
Where are you headed? Like, you still have to have blinders on for your goals and your dreams and your commitment to your family and your future.
Right. And it's about now, as we've been doing, how does the team move forward with integrity intact, right? Because we have integrity, right? So we are moving forward. And I'm happy
Yeah.
to cut that dead weight loose. For real, for
Yeah.
real.
It's a
And
blessing,
then
blessing in disguise.
right, and then we have to turn that betrayal into a competitive edge, right? So uh they've exposed themselves for who they truly are. So now it's up to us to make the most out of that. Turn lemon into lemonade, right?
Yes.
So what's one standard of leadership that you would say that you want to see moving forward? Um, I think the person that leads us has that. Um, I'm kind of curious as to where that's going to take us. You know what I mean? Like who we're going to be connected to next. Um, so yeah, do you think there's anything that's missing? Like how do we move forward? Is there anything that we need to add that was missing before from our
Well,
leadership team, from our leadership? I'm speaking specifically on leadership now.
what, I would say this: the one thing I want is this honesty,
Yeah,
because no one's going to have all the answers. I don't expect my leader to have all the
right.
answers and be all knowing. No,
Yeah,
you're not.
our current director is on point. So there's no
Yeah,
question about that. I'm going to be questioning the person that's coming in
yeah,
to take over as the whatever they
mhm,
want to call that in this business. They're not the general manager
yeah. Well,
or something like that, since we don't have the head of agency.
yeah. Honesty and integrity. That's it.
Honesty and
That,
integrity.
that's all I ask for.
Right.
You're not going to know everything. You're not going to have all the answers. You're not going to be. Everything's not going to be peaches and cream. There will be
Right.
some dog days. There can be some setbacks. But at least if I know I could trust this individual, I'll go to bat for you. I'll go in the foxhole with you anytime.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
my thought, it just reminds me of a leader coming into any business, a new manager, a new boss. We've all been that, right?
Mhm.
In supporting our teams. And, it just reminds me that you don't go in there, you know, moving things and shaking things up and moving things around, you go and asking questions,
Yes.
right? What do you need?
Observing,
You're
right.
observing and asking questions
Right.
truly, and then stepping back and synthesizing that information and working with the team to address those concerns and those needs um and really listening, right? Because if you're working with people, we're adults. We
Hmm.
have minds, we have thoughts, we have opinions, we have um, we have capacity and ability. And for me, when I feel like something's up, I have to shut it down to readjust. And I
Hmm.
feel like on some level, if it's to have, I would like to see that conversation happen truly, like even if it's an opportunity for an anonymous Dropbox with like, here are my thoughts, right? Because oftentimes too, people are hesitant to share how they feel with someone that is at a higher rank than they are, right? There's apprehension and feeling like you can't have those conversations. And so I'm always a fan of transparency and allowing people to say what's on their heart. And once that gets out there, then you can begin to heal, because there's some healing that still has to be done. But also, like I said, I have a T-shirt. Not kidding. My T-shirt says, "I want pizza, not feelings." And I should
Right.
have wore that shirt today. But that T-shirt just reminds me that even though when something hurts, it should be fuel to move you in a direction to do something bigger and something better.
Right.
That's how that's how big corporations are built, right? Successful people are successful. They get fired from one job and they turn into this amazing individual and human being. They build amazing things. They invent incredible things. That's the resilience. That's where we come from.
Hmm.
And so I'm hoping that, um, again, my eternal optimism is not going anywhere. And my commitment to my family and what I need to do is not going anywhere. And I hope to empower and encourage others to do the same. That's my state, Chris,
You're
to
right.
our conversation earlier.
Right. I appreciate that.
So, yeah,
Right. But
yeah.
now what do you say to, because a lot of us are seasoned. I'm a manager. I've had a shitload of HR issues. I know how to handle out-of-pocket leaders. I know exactly how to handle them. I document everything and I take that shit to HR. Because once they're on record, it's like there's, especially in the state of California, there are certain things that they have to do. So, what would be your recommendation to say new people in this industry? I'm new to the fitness, I mean, fitness, because I was in the fitness business for a minute, but I'm new to the finance industry. And my first thought is one, I want to sue this person because I've spent a lot of time, money, and energy building their brand. You know what I mean? I've just
Problem
spent
number
a
one, but go ahead.
right. So, what would be your advice to somebody new to the field? They're not seasoned. Like, how would, if that happened to them, how would they address that? Is that something, can they file a complaint? Does anybody know? First of all, because I'm gonna call my attorney soon. But there are steps to getting things on paper documented, whether you're a whistleblower, whether you've need to report stuff to HR, to the insurance department, or to whatever your enforcement bureau is. Different folks have different enforcement entities. So what would be, Saritza, what would be your suggestion to somebody new that this has happened to, their boss has manipulated them, their boss has potentially taken money out of their pocket, and have done some unethical things? What's the process for you?
So I think there are always two potential steps, right? You can go hard with the lawsuit and HR and all of those things, right? And I'm never going to tell somebody not to fight their own battle, because you have to be your own advocate. You have to fight for yourself. Nobody's going to do that.
Right.
Nobody's going to tell you it's okay to advocate for yourself. And also, there's the path of, okay, I'm a silent warrior. I'm a, like, so something like this happens. And again, I don't have a whole lot of exposure to all the shenanigans. I see it now on the back end. I get the hurt, I get the pain, I get the anger. And I'm still from the school of, okay, this happened, but I'm going over here. How do I get over here? I don't really stay focused on what's happening here. Again, I'm not as impacted. I get it. I understand. And what you said, like, you're following someone else, that's the first problem. We already know that. Anybody with a day job knows. Anybody that follows somebody knows, right? You really have to be discerning and figure out who it is that you want to align yourself to. But so again, two paths. Either you take that path, not either, and you can take both. Fight your battle. If you feel you need to go to HR, if you feel you need to, and I had an issue in the corporate world where I was like, you know what, I need to go to HR. Need to go to HR. And I spoke to a couple of attorney friends of mine, and one of the things that they said to me, HR's job is to protect the business.
Right, exactly.
And so I realized in that moment that what am I going to do? Okay, Saritza, you need to stay focused on the thing that's important to you. What's your goal? Where are you trying to go? And if you need to hit the wall and turn left, you got to turn left, and just walk away from it. Sometimes you have to take a big loss, right? I'm not saying it's okay.
Right.
I'm not saying it's okay. But sometimes you have to take that loss so that you can move forward and build something bigger. Is it worth pain and suffering and arguing and crying about it and fussing about it? And no, I'm focused right now on what it is I need to do to move forward.
Right. Well, that depends on how egregious the
That's true. Absolutely.
right.
To you. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. No doubt. No doubt.
Sexual, if it says sexual
Oh,
assault,
no doubt.
harassment, any of
Yeah.
that, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
your ass will get
No.
reported.
Of
Right.
course. I'm down. I
Right.
agree with that. I agree with that.
Right.
Hands down.
Absolutely. Doug, what's your takeaway here?
Well, I think you part of what you said uh, answers the question. Document everything. If there's anything that you either feel is wrong, that you either observed, witnessed, or experienced, document the experience. And if need be, you talk to a workers' rights attorney to advocate on your behalf if it comes to that. Uh, some companies have an EAP program to help guide them through situations where they felt they've been wrong personally or otherwise. In our industry, we're required to take 3 hours of ethics every 2 years as part of our licensing requirement. So there are certain rules and standards that are set, in the insurance industry that we live in, that guide and dictates our professional actions and activities. And clearly, in this situation that we're talking about, the individual in question has violated some of those things, at least in my opinion. And trust me, I am definitely be talking to an attorney to see what my rights are going to be, and where I might have, an opportunity, whether it be punitive or compensatory damages. So yeah, just always right and speak to somebody who is in the field of workers' rights, who could probably offer you some guidance and assistance. And that would be
Yeah,
my advice.
absolutely. And because I'm a little seasoned in that department, I used to be a manager at FedEx and all of that, and I've been to the labor board. If you are in the state of California and you have filed a complaint with your HR department, as you should, because you have to start everywhere. You have to put the company on notice. You have to have receipts, don't just, it's not verbal. Document everything, submit that to HR. If HR cannot solve your issue, the next step is the labor board. If the labor board cannot solve your issue, and I've been to the labor board, then you can hire an employment attorney, but you've got to go through those little steps first.
Mhm.
So I would say that if you are an employee that's going through some stuff at work with your boss, your job is to recognize it, document it, name it, refuse to operate in that way, maintain your integrity. We have maintained our integrity. We have severed ties with, well, that person severed ties with us, but, you know, uh, but the important thing is to don't compromise yourself. Like, I'm not one of those people. I am one of those people that will fight this battle. I don't care how long it takes. I fought one company for over 10 years. They thought I was just going to settle and do whatever. I'm like, nope, I'm not doing that. I fought them for 10 years and I won. But I have the patience because, one, I'm a Taurus and I had nothing else to do. But some people feel the need to press the issue. And if you feel the need to press the issue, you need to follow through with that. So I would just say to folks out there that are listening to our audience here, you know, do what you feel is right, get guidance and support. And hopefully you don't have to go through the shit that we've gone through, but everybody goes through something. So document,
Yep.
report, and take care of yourself. Doug, you have any thing else you want to add to this?
Nothing, Chris. You are doing great work. I appreciate you advocating for the people.
That's right,
Uh,
baby.
we need more warriors like you on the battle lines
All
because
right,
things are
right.
getting crazy. And I'll say this one thing: folk will get away with everything, whatever you allow
You
them to
let
get
them,
away with.
whatever
That's
you
so
You
let them.
allow
true.
them to get away with it, they will get away with it. So it's up to you to put an end to it and stop it.
Yep, I agree with that wholeheartedly. So Saritza, you have any final words for our listeners?
Um, you know, you have to stand for something. You have to know what you stand for. And if you take a moment to write down the things that are important to you, write down what your personal goals are, what your goals are for your family, so that when somebody steps on that or something happens to impact that, you know that it's something that you need to take action.
Right.
Whatever that is, if someone hurts you or puts you in like a mama bear, right? It puts something or does anything to impact your family or your well-being or your community. You got to fight. You have to step up and you have to fight for that. And so, but you have to know what you're fighting for, right? So
Exactly.
you have to capture what your personal goals are, what it is that you stand for. And that, I think that actually crosses over in all things, right?
It does.
You in all things. I want to be in a place with people that have high level of integrity, that are accountable, that treat other people with respect and kindness, and believe that a blessing is in order for all of us,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So that they don't have to take from you, they don't have to take from me. If you believe there's abundance in the world, then you don't have to take from anybody else.
Exactly.
So yeah, just
Right.
just know what you stand for, or you will fall for all things. I know we've all heard that.
That's right. I left the boxing business. I was telling you earlier, I was in the boxing game for a minute when I was in the fitness business, and I left because the business, mostly 99.9% of those people have no integrity. They are so corrupt. And it was just too much. And so it fouled my spirit. And there's just no way I could continue operating in that. Just to, some people sacrifice it because, they get to be adjacent to all these elite athletes and all the money and all that stuff. But I do not give one iota nickel about that shit. So
That was so well said from you, Chris.
yeah, I know because you know
One nickel.
right. I love dropping F bombs. I'm trying to clean up my language over here, Saritza.
You're doing great. You did
All
good.
right.
Yeah, I
Thank
see
you.
you.
But just
Yeah,
understand, this corruption is everywhere.
it
In
is.
any
It's a,
field,
yeah, it is.
you just got to recognize it when you see it and just walk past it and move on.
Yeah,
Exactly. So look, folks, that is going to be our conversation tonight on leaders who just betray our trust. It's been a eye-opening experience in 2026. knowing what we know now, moving forward in a different little cautious way. But before we go, Saritza, I want you to tell the people where they can find you.
So
Wait, first, if you want to be found. If you don't want to be found, then it's okay.
So I'm really trying. I think I'm moving to change my Instagram to my own name. I'm not very much on social media, but
You don't
it
look
will
like a
be under
fraud.
my own name. I use my
Okay.
own name. That's who I am, and that's who I. That's if you know me, I stand on a high level of integrity and
Yes,
principle. So it
I
will
love
be
that.
under my own name, and I'm sure nobody has that. So yeah.
That's fantastic. Standing on principle, Saritza. That's right. All right, DB, I want you to tell the people where they can find you, baby.
Yo, hit me up at Doug Betts. I'm on Facebook. The group is Black Coffee Professionals. Um, you can email me also at dougbenefits@gmail.com. And we love to, chop it up with all of you
That's
guys.
right. That's right.
Whoever's
Let's
listening.
talk about money. Let's talk
Let's
about
talk about
insurance,
money.
your financial
Yep.
services.
That too.
Right.
Yep.
What you need? I got it.
That's
Got I
right.
can help you. I
That's
can help,
right.
more than willing to help. Okay.
That's right, DB. You've helped me out a lot. I know that. Thank you very much.
And me too.
Appreciate
That's
you.
right. All right. Well, look, my beautiful people, that is all we have for you guys tonight. I am your fight goddess. You can find me on Instagram at Fight Goddess One. I'm also on Black Sky at BEJR.news because I've launched a Black economic justice report. Keep you guys abreast on the state of our community, pretty much. Okay, so I had this conversation the other night. Black youth unemployment is up to almost 30%. And that number blew me away. Black unemployment is over 8% right now. So the numbers that
Because
we're
we did
getting,
not vote, or we
well,
voted for the wrong
well,
person.
it has nothing to do with the fact that, let me take that back. If enough folks had come out and voted for Kamala, we would not be at over 8% unemployment in the Black community, and over 500, 600,000 Black women have lost their jobs. And more unqualified, incompetent DUI hire white men have been hired into office or jobs because they let all the Black folks go, so they had to hire all the knuckleheads. So
And
yeah, white
here
men's
we are.
employment's up, Black women's employment is down. That's the
Those
shit
are
we're dealing
statistical
with in this
facts.
country. Those are statistical facts, and you can guys can look at that at my website, bejr.news and bejr.app. That's got the whole statistics for you if you need that. So look, folks, until next time, peace, love, and power to the people. We'll see you. Peace.